You enter your 30s, something just changes, and I swear something clicks, and it's like a light bulb that goes off in your head, and you gain so much more insight and clarity, and you truly do become more wise. You start to question everything that you've done, everything you've believed in, your thoughts, your opinions, your values. You start to question everything that you've done before that point, and even just how you feel or your thought processes about certain things. And wow, nobody ever prepared me for that. That was completely unexpected. Nobody told me that when I was going to enter my 30s, everything would be flipped upside down and that I would literally be rebuilding myself and my identity. I think this decade has by far been one of the most transformative decades of my life, and I'm not even done with it yet, but I am approaching my 40s in a few years, which is crazy to say out loud. So far, my 30s have been so pivotal, and I've learned so much in this phase of breaking down and then rebuilding a new identity. And I can't even say that I've completed building a new identity or that I have it all figured out, because I don't. And I don't think that anyone does. In this video, I really just wanted to share 5 things that I have learned, 5 things and lessons that I've learned while rebuilding my identity in my 30s. So if you are also in your 30s and you've gone through some of these things, hopefully this video will resonate with you and you can relate. And if you are approaching your 30s, hopefully this video will help to prepare you for things that nobody prepared me for. So number 1, I had to learn to embrace the unraveling. And what does that even mean? Things were so chaotic. I had all these huge life transitions that happened early on when I turned like 30, 31, between like 30 and 31. The science says that your prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until you're about 30 years old. So I wonder if that has a lot to do with it as well. But I was starting to realize that everything in terms of cultural norms, expectations, opinions, values, all of these things that I had grown up with, I was now starting to question. And I had never done that before. I kind of just was told what to do, and I did it. I was told to conform and to fit this cookie cutter box, and that's what I did. You know, I went to school, got good grades, got married, got the house, like everything. And then I really started to question where my values and priorities were at that time. And I started questioning this whole thing of like, why am I even doing certain things? Is it for me or is it to show other people, right? And I just noticed that I felt uncomfortable as well because I was in a very in-between place. And I think maybe a part of me still is, right? Where it's like I had the old me that I was clinging on to so hard, but then there was this like new me that was also tugging me and was like, no, this is who you're supposed to become. This is who you now are. This is who you're transitioning into. And it just felt very chaotic to me because I was being pulled in a tug of war between both sides, right? I wanted to hang on to who I was, but then there was also this like other identity now that was calling me, and it was kind of inevitable. I couldn't control not being called to it, if that makes sense, and kind of gravitating towards it. And it felt chaotic, but slowly I started to just embrace it. I think in the beginning I was very resistant towards it, and there was so much friction in my life because of it. And I can't even say that I embraced it right away. I think I started embracing it like maybe over the last year and a half ago. That's when I was just like, no, you know what? Let's just let go of this friction and resistance and let me just go with the flow now. Because that resistance of me wanting to remain who I was creating a lot of internal turmoil for me and stress that didn't need to be there. I learned that I really just needed to start embracing this unraveling and this shattering of this old identity and start to embrace whatever God had in store for me at that time. And I just had to put my faith in the fact that this was the new chapter that I was supposed to go into, and that was the way that was being cleared for me. The second thing that I learned, kind of similar to the first, but it was acknowledging. It was acknowledging and just accepting that this was a new timeline and era. Again, because I had that tug of war going on between the old me and the new me. And just finally acknowledging that this is how things were now and this is how it's supposed to be, and accepting that really helped to clear up a lot of stress in my mind, and as well as a lot of uncertainty. And there's still things obviously that I'm completely uncertain about, and there's still things that are out of my control. But again, one of the biggest lessons that I learned and one of the biggest transformations I've had during this decade was leaning more into my faith in God and just trusting that He is carving out a path for me, and that path is the one that I am supposed to take. I control what I can, and I let go of what I can't control. But I keep my faith and my trust in God, and that is what truly has led me to help acknowledge and accept that this is just a new chapter, and that the old identity needs to be shed. It's meant to be shed. And that's why I'm feeling these feelings of discomfort and tension, because it is now time to let go of the past and the old me. And I don't need to be negative or resist what is to come and the new version of me that is to come, because I know it will be good. And why do I know it's going to be good? It's because I put my trust in God. Another lesson I've learned, or like another thing that has played a major role in this whole new identity shift for me, has been this whole concept of boundaries. Boundaries is something that I never had growing up, and I didn't even know that I didn't have them, and I didn't even know that I needed them. But as I said, when I turned 30 and I kind of started, transitioning into those first couple of years of my 30s, something really hit me, and I was just like, no, no, no. I put my foot down on so many things, and I implemented so many boundaries with relationships, with my time, with my schedule, with my priorities, with my values. And I realized that these were things that I just never cared to protect before, and now I do. And I swear nothing matters to me now more than mine and my family's peace. And that was only able to happen because as part of my new identity and rebuilding my new identity, implementing boundaries, which was a huge part of it. And I think that for anyone who is wanting to rebuild their identity or is kind of going through a similar transition, needs to think about this as well. What are your non-negotiables? What are your priorities? What are things that are really important to you and absolutely need to happen under any circumstance? For example, keeping your peace. All those people-pleasing tendencies just kind of went out the door at this point. And that was definitely another part of my identity that I have started to rebuild. I cared so much about people-pleasing in the past, and now I just don't. I am way more aware of my tolerances and my emotional and physical capacity, and my boundaries kind of revolve around that. Another major thing that I've learned in this decade is that truly your health is your wealth, and that should just be a non-negotiable. If you are trying to rebuild your identity, then your health should be at the very top of your list, no matter what sort of identity one is trying to build. If you don't have your health, you truly do not have anything. And trust me, this is something that hits you a lot harder when you are in your 30s, because everything you kind of did before in life catches up to you in your 30s. And I've heard that it kind of exacerbates even, and it's a lot more exaggerated in your 40s, right? So in your 30s, you can still kind of clean up whatever you did in your 20s, but you definitely start to feel those weird like aches and pains. You can't do as much as you used to do. Just physically, you're more tired. And I think that's also because you're at a point where you're just more stressed in life, right? Like stressful careers, families, young kids, whatever, like bills. It's just a lot. It's not an easy decade. It's a very transitional and transformative one. So there's just a lot of mental, physical, emotional stress on your mind at all times. And so I think it's really, really important to prioritize your health. I also transitioned a lot more from this whole thing of being healthy for aesthetic purposes to now being healthy for longevity. I want to be able to make it to 70 plus years old, and even when I do reach those ages, inshallah, hopefully, God willing, I want to be mobile. I want to be able to do things by myself. I don't want to fall. I want to be strong enough to still lift and stand and do all these things that we take for granted at this point in life. And also just fueling our bodies for energy, not just for gluttony and not just for purposes of filling up and eating stuff that tastes delicious to us. Obviously, food is delicious and it should taste delicious, but also just being mindful of what types of things you're eating and making sure that your body is getting fuel and not just junk. The fifth thing that has really shifted in my identity as well has been this whole thing around keeping up with the Joneses and just rejecting lifestyle inflation. I think I've just gotten a lot smarter with my money, not necessarily working harder for it. And I think in the past, and very culturally so, I was conditioned to, again, believe that, go to a good school, get good grades, like get a good job, like do all these things. And I totally agree with that. Like you should go to school and get educated. And, I think education is really important, and like get a good job. But I think that I was more so conditioned to think that I need to get a good job so I can make a lot of money so that I can look successful to other people. Not necessarily in the terms of like, oh, let me do a job that I really love that fulfills me so that I can do things that make me happy and fulfill me and my family and fill my cup. So again, it's very like external validation oriented and very status oriented. And I think that I completely snapped out of that in this decade of my life, where now I'm just like, why would I spend money to come off a certain way to somebody else who I don't even care about, who is not paying my bills, who literally has not a lot to do with my life. Like, I don't care. And I genuinely have just reached this point now in life where I'm like, I don't care. People can say or do whatever the heck they want. I am going to do whatever makes me happy and whatever is good for my family and I. Like, that's my priority now. And that's not to say that, like, I don't want to, work hard and build wealth and all these things. Absolutely, I want to do that. But I want to do it in a way that aligns with my values and principles now. And I want to do it so that I can live my life the way that I want to, not necessarily so that I can show off to other people and come off to be successful, because that to me means that I just want to look successful because I'm seeking external validation. But why do I need that when I have so much internal validation? And I think once you transition from that external to internal validation mindset, that's when things start to click, and that's when things start to really change. And that's a huge identity shift. So again, if you're entering your 30s or you've been in your 30s and you have felt completely lost and you feel like this old version of you has been shattering and you're questioning things and you just don't really even have any sense of direction, don't worry. Like, you are not lost. You're not abnormal. You're not wrong. This is just a very uncomfortable transition and period of time. And again, I think it's because our brains are finally fully developed. And so everything that we have learned up until now has just started to click and make sense. And we're now validating, like, okay, is this right or is this wrong? Is this how I want to live or is that how I want to live? Does this make sense for me and who I am now, or does it not make sense for me and who I am right now? Like, it's okay if you're questioning yourself and your beliefs and your values from the past. Again, that's an old version of yourself, and don't be afraid to lean into this new version of yourself. If you feel inclined towards a new identity or new hobbies or new interests or a new way of thinking or a new mindset or whatever it may be, lean into it. There's a reason that that's happening. It's because that is now who you are meant to be. And don't be afraid to explore it. And I know that it can feel very difficult to let go of an old identity or personality, especially if that personality or identity was someone that you were happy with, right? Like, you grieve your old self. Trust me, been there, done that, still do it. And it's hard. I get it. It's very emotionally hard to accept that you are no longer that person. But I think that when you think about this new identity that you are kind of starting to lean into, you might think that, oh, this stinks. Like, I'm so boring now, or like, I'm so this, I'm so that, like, blah, blah, blah. But also look at the good. Also look at the fact that, oh, but you know what? I feel so much more at peace now. I have boundaries now. Yeah, I may be going to sleep early, but I feel so much better in the mornings now. Like, I have the energy to do stuff throughout the day now. I am fueling my body and eating boring foods, but I feel better now, right? I'm not buying things to show off to other people now, so maybe they don't think I'm that successful, but I have so much inner peace, and I'm now spending money on the things that I want to be spending money on that actually fill my cup and actually make me so genuinely happy. So don't think of it as an identity crisis. Think of it as an identity upgrade. If you can resonate with anything that at all that I've said in this video, or if you feel like you've been through any changes at all lately, or you do feel lost or confused, please leave a comment down below. Let's connect, and I will catch you in the next video.